She was looking at the mirror again. It was late, the kind of late where silence gets heavier, where the sound of your own thoughts echoes louder than the room itself. She didn't cry, but her hands gripped the sink so tightly, as if she wasn't holding her body, but her soul that was about to fall apart. From the outside, she looked fine, even strong, like someone who had moved on. But that's exactly where the shadow hides. Behind the smile, inside the routine, right where you think it's already over. Because healing doesn't always shout. Sometimes healing is silent, and some silences are as exhausting as the wound itself. And for most of us, this is how it begins. Not with a breakthrough, but with a subtle breakdown. A quiet inner exhale, a question that won't leave, and a whisper. What if the problem isn't out there? What if it's inside me? Shadow work. It may sound mystical, almost like a spiritual ritual, but in truth it is the most brutally honest way a human can look at themselves. And here's the painful truth. Most people don't avoid it because they can't do it, but because they are afraid to. Because looking inward is harder than confronting the world. Before you face everyone else, you must first face yourself. And for many, that is the heaviest battle. As Carl Jung said, each of us carries a shadow within. This dark part is not bad. It is dark because it was never allowed to be seen. As children, the moment we learned which versions of ourselves were accepted and which had to be hidden, the shadow was born. Don't cry like that. Don't be so enthusiastic. Don't talk too much. Be good. Be polite. 'Cause no trouble. So we didn't just bury our anger. We buried our desire, our creativity, our hunger, our passion, even our love. Shadow work is not about going back to relive the pain. It's about returning to retrieve the parts of yourself you left behind. The shadow is not evil. If you try to get rid of it, it hides deeper. But if you listen, it begins to set you free. Because the shadow is not your enemy. It is the part of you that was never defended. Yes, there are tools. Shadow journaling, inner child work, meditations, mirror dialogue. But know this, the tools mean nothing if there is no willingness to look inside. Shadow work does not calm you. At first, it disturbs you because it shows you everything you've been running from. And facing that is harder than fighting the outside world. But freedom begins exactly there. It is not comfort, but honesty that heals. The moment you choose to look within, even when it feels unbearable, especially when it feels unbearable, the first real transformation begins. If you're new to this, start small. Begin with Owning Your Own Shadow by Robert A. Johnson. It's brief, simple, but cuts through you. Then move to Meeting the Shadow. It shows different faces of the unconscious. And if you are truly ready for depth, read Jung's The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious. It is not easy. It does not offer light. In fact, it might illuminate your darkness even more. But that is where transformation happens. After reading those books, you won't remain who you were, because once you truly see your shadow, you can never unsee it. But let me tell you something, and this may be the most important truth of this entire video. You don't do shadow work to feel better. You do it to get real. And only when you allow truth, not goodness, not relief, but truth, healing begins quietly. After your first true moment of shadow work, there's a silence. But it's not peace. Not yet. It is the sensation of standing in the very storm you've run from your whole life and realizing you're still standing. No one tells you this part. The shadow doesn't only live in your past. It lives in your present, in your relationships, in your decisions, in the moment you say, "I'm fine," with a smile you don't mean, when you abandon your boundaries just to be loved, when you lash out, then quietly regret it, when you stay, not because you want to, but because some part of you believes you don't deserve more. Shadow work is not about remembering what hurt you. It's about realizing how that hurt is still making your choices today. And it's not always loud. Sometimes it hides behind self-deprecating jokes, perfectionism, chronic overgiving, or the fear of truly being seen. We think our problems are unique, but most of us carry the same wound. Am I truly enough? According to Jung, we spend much of our lives constructing a persona, the mask we show the world. Not because we are dishonest, but because we are afraid. Afraid that our real self may be too broken to be loved, too intense, or not enough. The shadow feeds on that fear. The more you deny it, the stronger it becomes, not because it is evil, but because it longs to be seen. Every time you fall into the same relationship pattern, self-sabotage, numb your pain. It's not weakness. It is the unconscious whispering, "Look at me. I'm still here." So how do you go deeper? Slow down. We live in a world that worships speed, faster, further, forward. But the unconscious does not respond to speed. It responds to presence. Stop running. Don't shut down discomfort. Feel it. Notice where it sits in your body. Right, not to solve, but to see. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of here? What part of me have I abandoned? Whose voice do I hear when I say I'm not good enough? And then wait, because the shadow does not respond to force. It responds to honesty. If you want to go even deeper, write a letter. Not to your ex, not to your parents, not to the world, to yourself, to the child who was silenced, to the teenager who was judged for being too much, to the adult who is simply tired. Let them speak. Don't edit, don't fix, don't defend, just listen. Because shadow work is not about repairing yourself. It is about finally stopping the escape from yourself. But understand this, do not walk this path alone forever. Yes, you can start alone, but the deeper you go, the more important it becomes to have someone hold space. A therapist, a mentor, a friend who can listen without judgment. This journey is not linear. You will revisit the same wounds again and again, but each time with more clarity, more courage, more compassion. You'll catch yourself pausing before reacting, saying what you truly feel, even when it's risky. You'll stop abandoning yourself to be accepted. You'll start recognizing the masks, and then you'll choose whether to wear them. This is what Jung called individuation, the journey of becoming whole. Not just the version of you that smiles publicly, but the one that cries privately, the one that rages, the one that dreams. Wholeness is not perfection, it is truth, and truth, no matter how dark, is what sets you free. So here's something practical. Track your emotional spikes. What made you angry, jealous, defensive, ashamed? Write it down. Name the part of you reacting, your wounded child, your abandoned artist, your inner critic. The moment you name it, it takes form. It is no longer in the dark. Writing, meditating, allowing it to speak. That alone begins transformation. Then choose differently. Not because you're trying to be better, but because you're trying to be whole. And if you want to keep learning, you can explore The Shadow Effect by Debbie Ford, Romancing the Shadow by Connie Zweig, and if you're ready for something raw and ancient, Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. It's primal, mythical, and it will change how you see your own story. But remember, no book will save you. No quote, no video, because the only person who can meet your shadow is you. And maybe, while watching this right now, you felt it. I'm not where I used to be. I'm not healed yet. But this time, I'm not running. When you close this video, you can go on with your life. But you already know you can't keep going the way you used to. Because once you've seen something, you can't unsee it. And if today is the first time you're choosing not to run, don't just come to the next video to watch. Come to change, subscribe.